Hi, I'm Pantazi. In the background, you're seeing sort of an anatomical rendering, and I'm going through a discussion. Now, typically, I use this for my extended videos and also my platinum subscription service, the Patreon channel. Today, we're going to give you a glimpse of one of those films. All right, we do them every once in a while. They're anywhere from 15, 20 minutes long, depends on the film. And we go into the description, we go into a technique if that's what's going on. I go into the anatomy that's behind it and how to affect it and the proper trajectory, the tools, the weaponry. This time it's on dislocating the shoulder. Now, everybody seems to think that, okay, dislocating the shoulder is easy. Well, there's a couple ways you can, and there's a couple ways you can't. And this is going to be one of the easier ways to dislocate the shoulder, not using pressure points because, as I show in the film, it's not a pressure point structure. It's actually a muscle structure holding the joint. So we're going to go into that, and then, of course, we're going to do a demonstration and a little bit of a class. So if you stick around, you're going to see this whole episode play out. And this is typically what you would get if you were on the extended videos and or the platinum subscription or the Patreon channel. Now, what also goes along with this, okay, is in the platinum, we also have some full-length feature films that are on a specific topic that these are about. So if you join the Patreon or here on YouTube as an extended video member, you're going to get the type of film you're going to watch today. If you join the Platinum, you have access to this full film, obviously, and also the background video and the description, and it'll go into many more. Now, this came from Kyusho, Dislocations and Breaks, and how to use Kyusho to make breaking and dislocating the body much easier, much more efficient. So this film was about an hour and 15 minutes long, and it was a classroom where we'd go over the techniques, guys would work on it, get the same effects, make sure that they're honing their techniques so they could keep practicing into the future. Now, you got to understand also, the guys that are helping me in this film or doing the class in this film are also getting this information basically for the first time when the film is made, and then they go on to refine and perfect, if they can, these ideas. So they've been with me for a long time. It's great to work with them, the guys from Mansfield, the Shihans. So I thank them for helping me make these films and helping them bring the idea to you. And I really appreciate their lack of ego because they're willing to open their minds and work on a technique that they haven't done before, or a technique that they did do before but with a different application, like putting the Kyusho in and enduring the pain, the discomfort, the dysfunction, and all the maladies that can go with it. All right. So again, please watch this film and you will understand why I put on the extended videos to help people learn this, and also the Patreon system, and then you can understand what the Platinum system, a small glimpse of what the Platinum system is all about.
Now, large intestine 16 point is going to be located right on the muscle to release the muscle. Now, you've got to be careful that you don't stick the needle in this area. This is a fluid-filled sac. It's called a bursa, where the muscle goes directly over the bone. It tries to cushion that. So you cannot pierce the bursa, otherwise there's going to be a problem. Also, you do not want to stick the needle just in the deltoid muscle, because that's not actually the target. Let's hide this bursa first, okay, and we can start to see that the clavicle is right in there, okay, and let's get rid of the deltoid here. We'll hide that altogether. Now here's another bursa. You see how far down this is before we get to a neural response. You're going to get a little bit of a neural response out of the muscle, but you're not going to get a dysfunctioning. Let's hide that, and we'll just hide this extra bursa here. Now we're going to start to see the shoulder itself and the apparatus for keeping the shoulder connected, the upper arm to the shoulder structure itself. Now this right here, this muscle is called the supraspinatus, and it's part of the rotator cuff. Now that's the actual target we're working on. Now once the shoulder comes up, okay, if we lift the arm up in this direction, the deltoid muscle comes up around here, okay, so it's sort of still hiding this, but what happens is it causes a weakening or a looseness in the muscle because of its bunching, and now we can directly affect this muscle right in through here, and we're going to do that with a one-way action. Now that action, let me clear all this stuff out of here first, okay, we're going to put the pressure down onto the muscle itself. But what happens is this bone here is going to be pressed downward in this action. This remains the same. We put the pressure right in this juncture right here. So the stretching occurs right on this muscle structure here. Okay, again, the supraspinatus. Okay, and that causes the muscle spindle cell reflex, in which it sends a neural shock not to the brain for monitoring, but right into the spinal column, which in turn releases the structure and allows the shoulder to drop. Now let's go into a muscle action here. Okay, we can start to see how the shoulder lifts. Okay, and you can start to see how that muscle will relax a little bit. Now let's zoom in here a little bit and we'll rotate this. Now if we were to take this muscle away, okay, we can start to see the spinatus involved in there. And there it is right there. That's the spinatus. Okay, when the shoulder is brought up into this region, what we're going to do, let's turn this guy again. Let's rotate him all the way around. Okay, we'll start to take a look at it underneath here first. Okay, and we'll play this again. Okay, and we can start to see how that muscle stretches. This is the spinatus muscle. Okay, now you can see also that when the shoulder is up, and let's pause it when it's up here for a second. Okay, the muscle layers are nice and loose. What we need to do is come down into this bone here. Okay, and what that does is it pulls the bone down and away, and that stretches this spinatus muscle, which in turn enacts the muscle spindle cells. Okay, and that's what causes the neural reflex, and it also causes the shoulder to separate. Okay, you're separating the ball of this the bone here. Okay, this is the humerus. It's the ball of the bone that goes into this shoulder abduction, and that's called the scapula. So we're separating that shoulder. So it isn't a neural message per se, except for it was a neural reflex on this supraspinatus. Okay, and again you can see how it connects all the way in. Now typically what happens is the muscles tighten, and as you get that pressed down, your neck in through here, your trapezius muscle, your deltoid muscle will all tighten as this bone is pushed down and this spinata is stretched. So you're going to have these muscles tighten, which enact to tighten this whole area up here. Okay, let me get this done. Okay, these tighten. Okay, and as they tighten, it pulls up on this here, and this tightens and pulls up on the bone here, which makes this much more vulnerable, and it will dislocate the shoulder easier. So that's the structure behind this technique that we do with the lock, the shoulder lock and dislocation. But it again is not a nerve. Let's go back out to the, okay, let's zoom in on this shoulder here. Okay, we're going to see that there's not really a lot of major nerves. This nerve here, the supraclavicular, does have branches that go over here, but it's not so much the nerve. Let's bring the muscle on this. There's that bursa we were talking about earlier. Let's hide this as well. We can see the bursa under here. We'll hide the two bursas. We see the structure right here, and this is the supraspinatus muscle. Anyway, you can see that it's very deep, and there's no real major nerves around that. So again, Kyusho is not always attacking the nerves. You have blood vessels, you have ligaments and tendons, you have muscle spindle cells, organs. There's many different structures, and learning the weaknesses of the human body. And that's why pressure points, this isn't even a pressure point, because again, this shoulder muscle, look how thick this thing is. Okay, let's just fade this, and you can start to see how thick that muscle is. Before you got to the bursa, which you can't stick a needle in, you'd never get the needle in that deep into a muscle without the person screaming anyway. And then you have to go underneath to the spinatus right under here. So it's not always apparent what you're attacking. Yeah, it's great to think I'm attacking a pressure point. I see where they are on a pressure point chart, and you can see one located there, but it's not going to cause the weakening that the Kyusho attack does in this manner.
Well, let's move up to the shoulder. Now, the shoulders are pretty easy to dislocate anyway, so be really cautious on this one. Right up on the top, if the guy's arm is extended, I've done this on prior tapes, but what you need to do is you need to cut down into it to make sure that that shoulder weakens out, okay? So what I'm going to ask you to do is right where the muscle rounds, okay, you're going to have to penetrate through the muscle. It's not where it stops, where most people are going to put their arm. You think, okay, it's padded here, this is where I should go. But what happens is that shoulder structure goes underneath the deltoid. So you have to go almost right on the center of the deltoid to find that point to cut in to dislocate. Now you got to be careful. He's got big arms, so he's pretty well protected with this. If you cut faster, he'll go down further, but that's going to separate the shoulder, okay, and they'll be able to dislocate very easily. So be very cautious on that.
Huh?
I don't
We
blame
just tried.
You can join us.
Yeah, I know what it
Oh, yeah.
Can you do the elbow, the under?
Sure.
Try your radial bone on this hand here, Bennett. Yeah. It has much better cut on it.
I did the elbow.
That's right up to my head.
Not pretty. Yeah, go straight down toward his ankle is the best direction.
With this?
Yeah. You don't want to pull it toward you, just go straight down to the floor. There it is. Nice. And you'll feel that shift. You feel it shift. You see, you pulled that one toward you, Jamie. Just push it right down to his ankle.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Over here.
You want to do shoulder?
Oh, sure.
You cutting straight down on that, John, or are you pulling back to yourself a little bit? Yeah, go straight down to his ankle. I think you're going to get better result. You could see his body shifted a whole different way. Yeah, pull it toward you and watch his body structure. Okay, you see how he just gets pulled toward you. Now just go straight down. Okay, you see how he sinks, hits his spine and everything.
It's like a towel with your shoulder right there.
There you go. Now you're on top of the shoulder.
That was it, yeah. You can feel when the baby goes.
You can, absolutely. Because it stops and then all of a sudden you can feel it release.